Okay guys, for today's workout, we have to talk about what the priority is. When I look at this workout, right off the bat, the priority is the power snatch and the overhead squat. The overhead squat specifically. When I look at what positions am I warming the class up for, and I look at this entire workout and I think an athlete who's warm enough to do an overhead squat is warm enough to do a power snatch, they're warm enough to do thrusters, they're warm enough to do pull-ups. So I'm looking at overhead position and I'm looking at full depth squatting. So the priority for today is going to be the overhead squat, additionally the power snatch. All right, so when I'm building out my lesson plan for the hour with the outside in approach, just based on Jason's recommendation, we're going to go 4 minutes for the brief, and we're going to take 7 minutes for the cool down. All right, so at the end of the day, we're doing Fran. At our affiliate, we time cap Fran at 7 minutes. We don't use time caps very often, but we do for Fran. I find that it holds people very accountable for the intended stimulus of Fran, which is an absolute sprint. Fran is not the workout to test your recently acquired kipping pull-ups. Maybe you're doing 2 to 3 at a time. Okay, we need to modify a little bit, keep you moving, keep that intensity high. So for Fran, we call a 7-minute time cap. So we are starting Fran at 46. All right, which means that I'm gonna have some degree of breakdown time between my lifts and Fran. Okay, so we're gonna call that 4 minutes. So we are done lifting at 42. All right, so this breakdown here, we'll just call it BD, breakdown. That's stripping bars, getting 95 pounds in the bar. If you need to grab a sip of water, use the restroom, that's what that space is for. So then when I look at these lifts, I've got 6 sets. Some people are going to need to take their time mentally because they're still learning the movement. Others are going to have a chance to build to a heavy weight. Regardless, they're going to need to take some time. So we're going to give them 16 minutes for this section. So, let's see what, 26. All right, so that's our lift right there. All right, so athletes will be able to phase through 3 sets of 3 power snatches, then 3 sets of 3 overhead squats. No problem. Now, we've got our brief. The only thing left that we have to do is figure out where our general warm-up, where our specific warm-up is. Now, the general warm-up, we're going to call 10 minutes. And my goal here is to get the heart rate up. I want to expose athletes to some squatting. I want to expose athletes to an overhead position. So for a workout like this, I'm going to incorporate shuttle runs, air squats, and bear crawls. So warm up for this workout, general warm up for this workout could be 3 rounds of 2 shuttle runs, a 50-foot bear crawl, and 15 air squats. That's going to give me a little bit of everything. I'm squatting full depth. I'm being put in that overhead position with that bear crawl, and then I'm still got a kind of a cardiovascular component with the shuttle runs. So there's my general. We left 10 minutes here, so what I'm going to go ahead and do after that is I'm going to do an overhead banded stretch with a green band anchored to a post. The big position for this workout for the day is that overhead position, so we want to get people into a better space there, and we're going to go ahead and keep that same band. When we're done with 1 minute per arm, we're going to do banded good mornings with that green band. And so after that, we'll put bands away and it's time to go over the movements of the day, get into the specific warm-up. So specific warm-up, really I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 movements to go over. I've allowed for 12 minutes for my specific, so we'll call it 3 minutes per movement, give or take. One might take a little less, one might take a little more. So I'm gonna go over pull-ups first, and kipping and proper hollow hanging, just to, once again, put people in that overhead position to prep them for the rest of the day. So we'll go through pull-ups, we'll go through hollow hang, then we'll go through kipping. We'll give a couple alternatives for pull-ups as well in the workout, and touch on the points of performance there, go over some beat swings, some start stop, all that stuff. Then we're gonna get into thrusters next with a PVC pipe. Really working on squatting to depth and that overhead position. We will touch on all the points of performance there as well. After that, we'll hit power snatches 3 and finish up with overhead squats 4. So in that order, those are my that's my order of operations for the specifics. So ultimately, probably way over explained it, but I would prioritize power snatch and overhead squat in my warm-up, in my specific warm-up, just across the board. All right, cool, thanks guys.